Thank you for coming back to our event today, folks. And we are very, very lucky to have the gentleman we have with us today. He is an author of 5 books. He had 25 years on Wall Street. He has a very, very good understanding of what the powers that be are in this country. And 25 years in Wall Street, he realized that when people have power, they do not want to give it up. And they will do anything to maintain it and increase it. So that's been my experience as well. And on that line, we are, on that issue, we are very much aligned. So anyway, I'm very, very happy to announce that we have Jamie Lee with us today. And James Lee is, again, an author of 5 books. And the one we're going to talk about a lot tonight is Geoengineering and Chemtrails and the 6th human destruction.
Sixth greatest extinction in humanity.
Okay, all right.
Investigations into the 6th. I'm saying that through geoengineering, it could be so. And thank you for having me, Clyde.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to have you. We're all happy to see you, and thank you for joining us. And why don't you start out with that one picture that you were showing us,
sure.
With the Hopis. I love that quote in that picture. Just to give people an idea. A picture is worth 1,000 words. It says here, near the day of purification, there will be cobwebs spun back and forth in the sky. And you can all see that picture of the chemtrails. And that's not contrails, either, is it? Contrails are the actual exhaust that pretty much disappear in a few minutes from an airplane, right?
Well, yeah, and this is my book. As I said, I've spent 25 years Wall Street as an analyst. I had my own investment bank.
Right.
I got so sick of the corruption, and I knew that capitalists capitalizing were going to go down to the 1%, down to the 0.5%. And I saw some things in Wall Street which made me sick, and I stopped having to play the game and play it. And I moved to the country in 2007, sold, got out, and moved to a country to grow food, because now as we're seeing food starting to be pretty critical. Yeah. But what I wanted to show you here, and these are links for people to documentation links they can go through, but here you can see all these movies and books on chemtrails,
right?
Books on these websites. But here's what I wanted to show you right here, going backwards. These are all patents on weather modification, 2003. These are all patents. Oh, chemtrails don't exist.
So now this is patents issued by the government or government agency?
Weather modification, cartridge dispenser. You'd have to link. I mean, you file a patent if you're a corporation, right? Your corporation is a dead entity, so you want to control it. Powder, contrail, generation, 1975. But there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. How far back do you think it goes? Wow. 1920, process and apparatus for the production of intense artificial clouds and mists.
Right.
Okay, so here's your smoking gun right here. And this is, you can look them up yourself. You know, it's not rocket science. And then we have pictures of them spraying, which they used to do. They used to use planes. They don't use planes anymore. But this is my book, Geoengineering, the 6th Great Extinction Event. Aerosol toxins, geohistory. I mean, you go to chapter 4. Let me see if I can get that up.
I like that you're showing these patents, because a lot of people just don't believe this is true. And,
well, that's the game changer right there. Because like me, it's like, prove it, right?
Right.
So here's Pat. How about getting your degree in geoengineering from Oxford? You're going to tell me that geoengineering doesn't exist when Oxford and Cambridge and Texas are giving degrees in geoengineering?
Yeah.
I mean, how long have they been doing that? Columbia, University of Michigan, yada, yada, yada. So here I go through the questions of geoengineering that you first ask.
Yes.
And this is my first book I wrote. This is another one. This is what got me started, this document right here.
Okay.
And this is policy implications of green gas warming. This is 1987, I think was written. All the top mitigation, adaptation, and science base. So they were already talking about greenhouse gases and global warming back in 1987 and in 1990, 1991. And this book is like 600 pages. and it gets through the whole history of it. This is a government operation called HAMP, Hurricane Aerosol Microphysics Program, by the Department of Homeland Security, and they're telling you they're spraying. I mean, it's just to think that they're not controlling the weather is naive. And they're saying we're going to melt the Arctic. Well, why is the Antarctic full of 12,000 feet of snow and the Arctic's melting? It's a whole nother question. So uses for geoengineering is many. And if you've looked up in the sky and you see the aerosol spraying, you'll notice there's ones that look like scalar waves. There's one that look like puff balls. There's one that just blanket you. And again, since I wrote this, the technology has increased exponentially, where they're not even using planes anymore. They're using drones and lasers.
Well, wait. Let's hold on before you move this, because I definitely see something here I want to explain. So other uses of geoclimate engineering: crowd control, spraying of lithium for crowd control in areas of southern North.
So when the Arab Spring started in Egypt, it started actually in Syria, but when it went to Egypt and they had the woman on 60 Minutes that was attacked by the men became all sexually crazed. Remember that story?
Right.
And they had 60 Minutes, Laura Laughlin, is that her name? She came on 60 Minutes, it was the highest rated 60 Minutes show. Well, that's when they sprayed the crowd with anxiety, where they incest riots with spraying the crowds to change moods with frequencies. And so then Lavoy Finicum in Oregon, remember the federal government, the federal land, and he was killed. They sprayed them with lithium. We had people measure it and take tests of the spray. Lithium controls you down. Mind control dust, smart dust, those are called biosensors, and there's millions and millions and millions of them. Smart dust is nanotechnology with chips that can self-assemble inside your body, goes through the blood-brain barrier. And if we had more time, I'd show you videos. If you look up on if you have an outside security camera and you look at your camera and it gets cobwebs at night, that's smart dust being sprayed on us. They're doing it relentlessly. And these are biosensors. This is about uploading, because we're antennas too. And the way they use mind control is they upload your system aluminum and barium and strontium. And the aluminum is a conductor.
So the aluminum, barium, and strontium,
among many other things. But those are the main.
That's in the spraying.
It's in the aerosol spraying generally.
And that enters our body.
That enters our body. And if you look up targeted individuals, I don't know if you ever heard of targeted individuals. I've been attacked. They use frequency modulations to hit me with weaponry to take out my legs, to put voices in my head, to mind control me, to put self-assembling nanobots along my nervous system to redirect my nervous system. This is why they legalize marijuana around the world all at the same time, because they have frequency modulation devices that they want to use on everybody. And if you're at a different frequency, if you're not between the 8 and 12 where the over-the-horizon radars are set to control you, that's why they want to get everybody. Aerosol vaccinations, they did in Australia. Ocean fertilization. You hear Bill Gates talk about the Silver Lining Project and the Arctic River.
No, wait a minute. Let's just go through that. What go back to that one again. Okay, so what does that mean? Ocean fertilization. What is the goal of this, and what are they doing?
Well, the ocean's ionizing the ocean.
Okay. So
they're making the ocean more conductive because basically, Clyde, and I get into this in the book, and I'd have to look it up, but here we can do that. You ever heard of wet surface air coolers?
No.
Okay. Matches. You ever seen a nuclear power plant?
Yes.
That's a wet surface air cooler. It's not a nuclear plant.
Yeah, there's the one in Southern California, right along the ocean there. That's the one.
San Onofre and San Diego and whatnot. So
Right.
basically, the story goes that, and I'll just kind of scroll through the book here a little bit, and then I'll get into the other pictures.
Okay.
But the story goes that up until 100 years ago, weather was normal and the weather was not controlled. And then they started, like I showed, 1920s, they started changing the weather, controlling it. And one of the reasons they had to do that is because of all the coal tar ash that was used in the skies. And the way they make clouds is they use cloud condensation nuclei and water vapor, and that condenses to make rain. This coal tar ash from flying in the skies got too heavy and they could not combine with the water vapors. And so rain stopped. And that's when we went into the great droughts. And so they created the wet surface air coolers, and you'll see Doppler radar. You'll see these big, huge towers, like in Geyserville here in California. We got the largest one in North America. And literally, they will shoot water vapors up into the sky through these nuclear power plants. And you know, when you see one, you know what I'm talking about. Huge arrays of water vapor into the sky. You have them down there in Florida. I could bring up a map of them. Then with the aluminum in there, and why do they use that? Why do they use strontium? Strontium is used to connect to the cloud condensation nuclei so it can bond. And then the water vapor is used to conduct the water molecules. And then they use the aluminum inside the molecule, and they use Doppler radar you see on TV on the web. Who's the Doppler radar? They use the Doppler radar to steer the weather where they want it to go.
Okay.
And they can make hurricanes, they can make weather, whatever. What is the name of the National Oceanic Administration, Atmospheric Administration? NOAA. Get it? Rain, Noah, the floods. It's all in our face. And they're run by the, I call it, Bush called the evil doers, but it's basically the Trinity is the three, Vatican, City of London, and Washington, D.C.
Right.
Washington's the military, City of London's the finance, Vatican City is a religion. Washington, D.C., not one person can tell me what date Washington, D.C. was founded. February 21st, 1871. The White House is named after the Archbishop Andrew White, who came over on a boat, Freemason, and landed in Jamestown. Look it up. Washington, D.C. used to be named Rome, Maryland, but it was donated by John Carroll, the Jesuit. And it's Jesuit, Trump Jesuit, Clinton Jesuit. They're all Jesuits. So they've been controlling the story and owning the weather for a very long time. Then they use Raytheon and these others. And now we're seeing some of the people reporting in the Midwest with snow that's on fire. Like you can light the snow on fire. Have you seen those videos?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's going on here? Well, they're manufacturing the weather. And this is kind of a backlog history. And you see these things. You see these big, huge devices with these big Doppler radars. And we got Gwen towers. We got HARP, over the horizon radars. They use them all to control the weather, because basically we lost control of our weather. And if they can control the weather, like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange has a weather options exchange. Well, if you could control the weather, how much money could you make? Right?
Right.
So mind control. And then here's the programming for people that still don't get it. These are advertisements, Wimbledon and all. And look in the background. They already got the geoengineering in the background. So it makes your mind comfortable with the idea of seeing sprays in the sky. And they're using ads to do it.
Wait a minute. Let's go back to that for a minute. So can everyone see that? It's like every one of these ads has chemtrails. It's crisscrossing the sky. So this is part of the brainwashing.
Yeah, subliminal messaging, programming, putting it in the background so you don't see it, but you see it. So when you see it, it's like it's comfortable. And here's why contrails jet engines can't make contrails. It's impossible. Here's who profits from weather modification. All these companies are in the weather modification business. Never heard of them?
No.
None of us have. And then here I get into NASA, their strategic war. And look in the background, they got the chemtrails. Future strategic issues, future warfare, circa 2025. Nature, control the weather, own the weather. Look at the US Air Force document, 1996, own the weather by 2025. A mechanical analog to micron nano-sized mechanized dust, which is distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into the lungs. Dust mechanically bores into lung tissue and executes various pathological missions. So what are we seeing with?
Wait a minute, this is from NASA?
This is from a document from NASA from 2005. Scott Burnell, the chief scientist for NASA, had a document, PowerPoint presentation included this.
Read that. Let's read that again for people, because I want this to sink in. What does that bottom one say?
It says micro dust weaponry. Okay, and this is relevant to right now, what we're talking about with the pandemic and all the baloney they're pulling on us. A mechanized analog to micro-sized mechanicized dust. That means artificial intelligence in micro nanoparticulates, which is distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into the lungs. What is everybody getting sick of? Lungs, respiratory infections, right?
Yeah, it's all respiratory.
Right, so all they got to do is spray you with it, you upload it, and then they just use 5G frequencies to activate it.
And then that's when everybody thinks they have COVID because they've never really isolated a virus, right?
It doesn't exist.
Right. So
I went into a hospital and said, "You got any corona people here?" "Oh, we got one or two." I said, "Let me go hug them."
Yeah.
Nobody's dying. I mean, we have a 97.3% survival rate on something that doesn't exist. And if we do really good at it, we're going to get up to 97.8. Hey, it's the theater of the absurd because we're ignorant. And a massive ignorance fear is what they take control of. But this is the mechanics of how they initiate the symptomology to tell you you've got this through the aerosol spraying, through the mechanized smart dust, biosensors. And I can bring up a picture here in a minute of what the chip has on it and all the different mechanics of it. And nanotechnology, just so for people to understand, is $1 trillion business. It's a $60 billion business in food alone. All these Impossible Burgers and all that, they're made from cloned meat, and they can clone them at the microscopic level at no cost. And that's why they're getting rid of meat and everything. So the last thing it says is dust mechanically bores into the lung tissue and executes, military term, various pathological missions. So you can see, case closed, how they could do it. Are they doing it? Who knows? And this is the document, Future Strategic Issues, Future Warfare, circa 2025. Werner von Braun came over from Nazi Germany,
right.
Ran the V1, V2 Buzz program. V stands for vengeance, right? And he ran the Saturn program for the fake Apollo missions. And then the deaths, all this, but the geoengineering part, I show how all of this was coordinated worldwide and how the people here, you see the creation of the Aleister Crowley, the dark occultist leader, Jack Parsons, the JPL Rocket Laboratories, L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology, Werner von Braun, and Walter Disney were all members of the same Ordre des Malais Freemasonry group. What are the odds? What are the chances? Right?
All of them were in this DMLA together?
Right.
Okay, that's just June. So that's very young because DMLA is the like teenagers.
No, the Order of DMLA is one of the Freemasons levels. Orders.
Okay.
There's a bunch of different orders. And again, with people, they don't understand technology. I mean, Star Trek was predictive programming. Look at what they predicted: tricorder, cell phone, flat screen, talking computers, phasers on stun, remote hospital devices, communicators. They've been doing this for a very long time with us. And then the Great Extinction, I get into the Arctic melting, releasing the methane gases causing the heating. But I've revised that now because what's happening is they're creating the weather. These are methane holes where huge methane gas holes are coming out. And just on a sidebar, there's a website called geoengineeringwatch.com.
Okay, let's stop a little bit. What's this one right here?
All right, so this is HARP.
Okay.
This was developed and they started in Alaska. And these are the grids of which these large devices, there's over 800 antennas. Maybe you've seen pictures of these radio antennas that go up into the sky, and they go up into the 62 miles where the ionosphere conducts, and you can bounce them off of. And they use the HARP to control the weather, just like the military can use cell phones. How do cell phones work? They bounce off something, right?
Right.
They go from here to there. So that's what they're doing. They're sending a beam up. They can get a billion watts of power through the HARP. And they can carve out anywhere. They can use it for tomography to look underground. They can do anything they want. But this is a picture showing how they've gridded the entire world with the HARP technology.
So wait a minute. So who's in charge of this if it's all over the whole world?
The guys that are trying to take us out with the vaccine.
Okay, so in other words, all these governments are somehow working together on this.
There's no government.
Okay, explain that.
It's a corporation. The United States is a corporation. California's a corporation. Russia's a corporation. China's a corporation. We're under Roman Latin law, the same law we've been under since 16th century. And not one person can tell me what the word Latin, the derivative of the word Latin, is from. Not one. And we're under Rome. Why do we have to have Black's dictionary to understand what they're saying in legalese? Because we're out to sea. They put us under admiralty law.
Right.
That's why under citizenship, partnership, relationship, ownership, and we have a docket, and we have a bailiff, and we have the black robes of Saturn with the
doctor, and the doctor, and the birth canal,
and the penis symbol, the judge's gavel. And then we're out to sea in our finance. And I didn't know this when I worked in Wall Street. I had to learn later. but that's why they call it a current sea, a river bank, cash flow, liquid and illiquid assets. And what's the other name for the Vatican? The Holy See.
Mhm.
And so they created this monetary out on sea admiralty law. And that's why in courts you have the yellow fringe around the courts, and the presidents have the yellow fringe, because we're under admiralty law. We're just chattel. And this is why the birth certificate, when your water breaks in the mother and they land the feet on the birth certificate, because you're landing on a piece of paper, you're contracting, and we're under contract law. The Constitution, when it was written, we the people, was 55 rich landowning white guys. We the people. You cannot assign a contract. You know that.
Right.
I can't tell you, Clyde, you're responsible for something if there's not agreement or compensation.
Right.
That's contract law. Well, who said we the people? The 55 rich white guys. Didn't include non-landowning white guys, didn't include women, didn't include slaves, didn't include Indians, didn't include any of them.
Mhm.
It only was the 55 rich white guys, and then they changed the story to say, oh, we the people includes you.
Mhm.
And one sidebar on this, look at the new $100 bill, and on the right side of the $100 bill, written in cursive writing, is the Declaration of Independence, second paragraph that says, it is the right of the people to eliminate the government when the political parties no longer bind it. On the new $100 bill, they're writing this. They're going to abolish Washington, D.C. They're going to get rid of it. They're already talking about making it the 51st state because they're going to break us up. And this is getting sidebar in geoengineering. But you say they are the ones that you're never heard of. There's a book by Fritz Springmeier, The 13 Satanic Bloodlines. Start with there. There's a black pope 6 levels above the white pope. There's the white pope, the first Jesuit in 6,000 years, Pope Francis. There's the Knights of Malta. Anytime you see the red crescent, these are all their entities that are minions under them.
Mhm.
I did a whole thing of 32 secret societies. No, I have it in this book here. Yeah, let's do that. 32 secret societies. This is page 98. I put this in the appendix. Mm, 32 secret societies nobody's ever heard of. I think I had it in here. Yeah. So these are all about Barry Goldwater, Freemason, Newt Gingrich, Freemason, Walt Disney, Freemason, Gene Roddenberry, Freemason, Jack Kemp, Freemason, Jeb Bush, Knights of Malta, Karl Marx, Freemason, Vladimir Lenin, Freemason. They're all Jesuits. Werner von Braun, Freemason. All these guys, David Rockefeller, Oliver North, who just passed, Colonel Powell, Freemason, Secretary of State for George Bush.
Not only Freemason, but 33 degree.
Right.
33 degree.
They don't get in there unless they're of service to their kind,
Right.
and they get rewarded for it. But above here is all these, and tell me how many of the societies you've heard of.
Not many of them. Not. Yeah.
How about these?
No, I've never heard of any of these.
The Vril Society, Fraternity of the Rose, Muslim Brotherhood, Tavistock Institute.
Okay, I've heard of a couple of them, but not.
Tavistock Institute wrote all the songs for the Beatles.
Right.
And they celebrate, well,
Knights of Columbus I've heard of.
Right, and the Rand Corp, and then Lucius Trust is the publishing company created by the United Nations. United Nations land was donated by Rockefeller, who donated the land which used to be a meat factory, a slaughter factory.
Mhm.
So they built it on old blood. It's kind of their MO. So anyway, just the point being is that here's more. All of these societies are ones that nobody's ever heard of.
Mhm.
And they're real. You can look any one of these up and find a little information of these secret societies who run the world.
Mhm.
And then you've got all their symbolism they use and all that I use in the book as well. But so back to geoengineering. So
Well, now what book is this? This is a different book?
no, this is my appendix in the same book.
Okay.
Geoengineering.
All right.
I try to just upgrade, and kind of bring the story up.
Okay, so if people get this book, which is the Geoengineering, Chemtrails, and Human Extinction Event, number 6,
Right.
then they'll get all this information.
Right. And here I got a chapter on what you can take to help. We're talking about mitigating.
Right.
We can get into that a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, I see spirulina there.
Right.
Okay, let's stop on that a little bit.
Okay. So detoxing. So, let me show you one more thing.
Okay.
If I were to take, let me bring up this one site. And again, some people are just going to be absolutely floored, and some people are going to go, no way. I've heard it all. But let me just get up this one. website if I can here.
Okay.
So being healthy, I mean, now we can go get our vaccine and get a Krispy Kreme donut,
Right.
right? So they don't care about our health. They want us sick. A patient cured is a patient lost forever.
Right.
I asked my dad, a 30 years physician, I said, did you ever try and keep people from getting sick? He goes, why would I do that? I'd be out of a job.
So at least he was honest.
A little too honest, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just your job should be able to heal people and put yourself out of a job as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Let me see if I can get this up here real quick. There it is.
Yeah.
So geoengineering's been going on for quite some time. It's now so out in the open, it's just ridiculous. Just look up in the skies and you'll see these trails start forming around the skies. And then you'll see them, no planes, or you'll see a plane that, I can't find this, that disappears or stops, or the trails stop, or they do crisscrosses, and you look on the maps and there's no plane flights that are going around that time. I'm out in the coast of California, and I have planes fly over me that never should be around here. And they're
Right.
white. They have no markings on them whatsoever. And then all of a sudden you'll see trails open up, and you'll see these DNA clouds open like helix. You'll see some do, like I said, scalar waves. You'll see some do puff clouds. So I call it sky painting. I've been observing sky painting now since 2005, when Dayton Wigginton at Geoengineering Watch turned me on to it and started showing me and giving me books about it. And he turned out to be a guy I could not trust, and I had to break away from him because he never supported anybody, and he also never does not advance what we know about geoengineering. He keeps saying the same thing, but he doesn't understand or doesn't want to understand the advancements they've done.
Oh
So
my
can
God.
you see that? Can you see that on your screen?
Yes.
All right, so this is just, I'm going to go through pictures,
Okay.
and they can use templates, and you can see images in here. You see a face.
Yeah.
You know how crop circles are made? They just put a template over their lasers and fire the lasers down, and then heat the wheat or whatever, the chaff, whatever, to control the modifications. These are called sun dogs. There's sun simulators in the sky as well, artificial suns in front of the regular sun. And that's not new technology. You see double suns, you see one sun here, you see another sun there. These are artificial, folks. These are fake. See that? That's a real picture.
Oh my God.
Are you going to tell me they're not playing God? Right? This is the event on Paradise that I covered over 90 videos on, the Paradise fires. This was on the event horizon. That's Lake Tahoe right at the center of it. And you can see how massive those clouds are. And Lake Tahoe right at the corner there is 11 miles by 22 miles. How big was that event in Paradise? They said the fire moved at 272 miles an hour, and we got pictures of lasers hitting it. So they modify the weather. They seed it with sulfur. They seed it with aluminum and barium and strontium. They spray it in the skies now, and they seed it. And then they'll use lasers from the ground, which we cannot see, to activate the seeds where they want to execute microgrids. And so what they're doing out here with directed energy weapons and the attacks is they'll create a cold environment with a hot environment, and then they'll spin it to create the plasma, so they can create the cold plasma directed energies to fire from the skies down anywhere they want with pinpoint targets using smart meters, GPS, and all the sorts of other technologies. And so it's highly advanced now, where, look at, I mean, just straight lines in the sky. It's absolutely impossible. And then here you can see the sun with a beam coming down. You can see this is a big circle in the sky. Can you see that?
Yeah. What is that doing? What are they trying to do there with that big circle?
Well, think about a camshaft, or think about something that's in a circular mode with teeth on it.
Okay.
They're creating positive and negative. I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't found the patents on this yet. But for this one, I'm guessing they're creating a centrifuge in the middle of this giant circle. You can see it goes all the way around there. And at the center, they're focusing energy for some reason. So geoengineering.
Well, wait, let's stop at that one. So that straight line that's pretty much impossible for Yeah.
Yeah, and the other problem, Clyde, is you and I are old enough to remember when I live on the West Coast and the clouds, the temperature would drop, the heat would drop, the clouds would come in from the coast, the fog, and we get fog in the morning till 9 or 10 in the morning, and then it would burn off, usually around this time of year.
Right.
That used to be normal up until 10 years ago. That doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
No fog anymore. They got these artificial, what I call chem fogs. And when I was up in Paradise, they put chem fogs over Paradise, where you literally could go up a few hundred feet above Paradise and go down below in Chico, and it was blue sky. But in that area of Paradise, 12, 1,300 feet, totally in fog and chem fog, where you couldn't see more than 15 feet. And if you remember out in California, we had the Paradise fires for 8-9 days. Northern California was in a chem fog. They laid it out across the entire state.
What is that?
I have no idea. But notice the lines. Notice they're all different variations. Notice the striations.
Right.
Right? And they're saying the sun is 93 million miles away. Yeah, right.
So
there's lightning and storms where they can harvest lightning. So I was talking to you earlier about creating lightning for energy and harvesting them in the big towers.
right.
Lightning they can harvest from the ground. So here's another thing they do is they hide ships behind clouds. They cloak them. I think I got some pictures of those being cloaked. Those are called TR3Bs. So they'll hide things behind here. And when you see a triangle shape in the sky, so you see the multicolored here. So that means if you look up fireworks and all the different colors for fireworks, you're going to get the different minerals that they use.
Right.
And so the different minerals produce different colors. So you can see what minerals they're using in the sky. Look at that, I got cross in the sky. I mean, this is not normal. This is not normal. There's two suns again.
So,
sun,
so the purposes are multifold, right? I mean, we're talking about putting things into people so that they can control us, mind control, creating fires like they did in California. I was out there in Oregon. They were definitely creating fires in more ways than one in September when I was out there. Weather modification, for whatever reason, they're trying to do that.
you see on the right here, these waves?
Yeah.
These are scalar waves.
Okay.
Now you see the Phoenix?
Yeah.
See how they do it? So they put images in their screens and they put filters on. Here's another one here. And these are what I call puff clouds.
Yeah.
And this is a striation. This thing, when you see something like this, it's going to cover the entire sky. That thing will break out into particulate matter. And within an hour or two, your entire sky will be opaque.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can hide things, they can bounce things off. So one of the things they're doing is they're lowering the artificial dome from the Karma zone at 62 miles up, where they used to have to bounce things off of, down to just a few hundred feet. So now with their radar and their technology, they can use amplified waves at a much more acute, higher density frequencies because they're operating a lower level, there's less dissipation, and it's more acute. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They have more width, they're more control, it's easier to use. So basically they can create these artificial skies as ionized skies to use for communications, for warfare, whatever they want to do. But this is just beyond the pale of thinking anything like it could be normal. When you just see all these pictures, and I've been collecting these pictures for 10 years now, double, triple rainbows we're seeing everywhere now. So those, look at that. These are TR3Bs. I think we get it. These are the machines. I can find a couple of those. Look at that thing. What did we see in San Francisco last November? We saw these lightning storms everywhere like we've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
See that there's a triangle. So you see the triangle?
Yeah.
That's a ship. It's massive. And they're called TR3Bs. Look at this picture. How the heck does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, it has to be artificial. And so when you start looking and doing sky watching, you see this almost on a daily basis. These are scalar waves again. Those are for high frequency communications. Again, the density of what they do. So once they get the sky, they can control the weather, own the weather. You can control everything. So I went down to Hurricane Harvey after they hit Harvey with the, remember Hurricane Harvey in Houston, when they announced for days ahead of time, it's going to be Hurricane 4, Hurricane 5, and then they got 43 inches of rain.
Right.
I went down there 3 weeks later because people were not, I raised money, I raised $10,000, and I went and handed them out to people. And to a person down there, they said, please say that it's not a hurricane. This was not a hurricane. The heavens just opened up. There was no weather event. And it wasn't the weather that killed us. We got 16 inches of rain, or 12 inches of rain in one night. We had to leave. Our houses were flooded. The Cajun army, the local people came to save them.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got back in their homes, and the next day they opened the dams above them and flooded them out again. And they said that's what caused all the problems, when they opened the dams and they flooded us all out. And so I went there and I interviewed. You can see the triangle there again.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of pictures of these with the machines up in the sky. And so they were flooded out. What is Houston? Oil, right?
Right.
What did they do with the big power play with the weather, geoengineering weather they saw in Texas 3 weeks ago? You saw cars frozen underground and inside underground parking frozen. You see those pictures?
Yes.
You see the roadway where the cars were ramming into each other at 60 miles an hour?
Yes. Crazy.
They changed the weather and rained, and then they flash froze it, and they turned it to black ice without warning. And that's why all the cars couldn't stop and couldn't see each other. They literally couldn't stop.
So let's turn off the pictures now and go to the full screen so we can look everybody in the eye here. So to wrap this amazing talk up, what can we do? What do you think we as normal human beings on this planet that just want to live our lives and not control other people, what can we do to stop all this nonsense that's going on? It's unbelievable stuff.
Right. And again, we're uploading such toxicity, keeping your system pure, detoxing, heavy metal detox. So there's things called like TRS and other heavy metal detox. You talked about spirulina, using green. There's a test you can do that I was going to show you, but we're out of time. But take a white bowl, get some red wine or some red apple juice, organic apple juice, pour it in a bowl and see there's no sediment, and then gargle it for a minute and spit it out. And you'll see the microfibers. You'll see the nanotechnology in that white bowl, and then add a little isopropyl, add a little rubbing alcohol, and those things will come to life and start dancing. And if you put them under a slide, you'll see different colored lights. That's the nanotechnology in all of us. So 1 is meditation, 2 is healthy living, 3 is getting out in nature, but when they're spraying, always wear a hat, but still we're breathing it in. It's in our foods. It's in everything we do and everything we eat. And so how you purge it, I think that we have to become super healthy mind, body, and spirit. And we have to build our own energy domes to protect us, because we all have this inside of us. Mm-hmm. But one of the things we're learning is they have to be activated, and they're activated magnets. So we're using magnets actually to deactivate some of their sensors, and we're having some success with that. So Clyde, it's if they control the skies, I mean, if you're a money guy, if they control the money, who owns the money system?
Yeah, cabal.
If you control the sky, who controls the weather systems?
Yeah.
Who controls our minds? If you look under geoengineering, I did a whole chapter on minds. They have a whole category of frequencies for different emotions they can spray in the skies, and they can attune the frequencies to affect you mentally, just like in lithium or just like whatever. Yeah. So they could take over, and they've incited riots and they've done all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's I think we're more powerful than the dark entities who want to hide in the dark. And the first thing always is education. Mm-hmm. You have to be aware of it before you can do something about it. And you have to be fully aware of it to know what you fully can do about it.
On that note, people, we better wake up.
Right. And hopefully you're helping them with the show. And Clyde, I really appreciate you having me on. It's been an honor.
Yes, I am so happy that we connected. So happy. And people, please get Jamie Lee's books, Geoengineering, Chemtrails, and Humanities, the 6th Great Extinction, and get on, do whatever you can to keep yourself healthy, and learn and listen to the rest of the speakers in this event, because there's some great speakers we have. So thank you for coming tonight and listening to Jamie, and God bless everyone. Thank you so much.